Right, here we have the Christmas ball material. I got this at Lowe's, which is 36 inches. And it's metal with already the green rubber protectant on it. I'm gonna roll this out to about 6 feet. So it's 3 by 6. And then I'll make it a circle and use the end points here to tie them together. I use some snippers and I'll bend the metal over. I've put these two pieces together and started my method of tying. So I have this one right here, which I'll bend over and around. So bent it down, and now I will bend it over and around. It kind of hurts your thumbs a little bit if you're not used to it. My thumbs were a little bit sore. But basically I've connected the two pieces together and they won't pull apart, because in the next steps I will be bending these corners in, basically making a box, folding it in from each side, and then I'll be getting rid of the bulges on the corners to make it a round ball. And a round ball looking like something like that up there, outside already. And now I have the cage put together. It's a round circular cage. And I have these tools here. You can use anything pretty much. And what I'm using them for is to, see if I can get this on camera here, is to bend these down. So I will bend these down out of the way. They won't poke your hand, but I basically twisted them over themselves and around, so they're sticking together. And then I'll bend these off and around just to get them out of the way, or you can leave them straight. This other one is holding them in place anyway. All right, so now I'll bend these in. And I want to tie these two together, so I'll snip it and then tie these around. I don't know if this will pick it up. Basically what you do, fold them in, just like you're making a big square. And the better you fold it in, the better it will turn out. So now I have basically a square, and then I end up stepping inside just to flatten it out. Makes it a lot easier. And then I will bend in the corners here. So you can bend in the corners a few ways. You can scrunch it up. You can scrunch it up like this. You can bend these inwards. You can try to make them like A's by pushing this in and squeezing in. You can use a piece of wood like I have here. You can tap on it and it'll bend, and you can bend it in. It doesn't look as nice, but it does the job. So you can do that. And then at the end, what I'll do is I'll snip a few of these and bend them in just like this to then tie them in so they're permanent. Here's my first pass of just the scrunch method. Here's me also hitting it down. So you can see it's taking a round shape here compared to the other side. And we'll have to work on it a little bit, but when we bring this other side in and do the same thing, it should start to resemble a ball. And then we'll work the extra areas here that bulge out, either by hitting them with a piece of wood or bending them. You can see they're already a little bit bent, but don't worry about the the look of it. Once you wrap it with lights, it just becomes invisible as you cover it in the different types of lights. And I've done the other side, so basically folded it like a box, just like the other side. I know it's a little bit hard to see on camera, and turn it sideways. It's not 100% perfect. I'm going to use a tool to mash the bottom, but as you can see here, I've basically made it a cube on the top, and I'll do the same things. I'll bend these in, but what I want to do first is get this situated so you'll see what I'm using to flatten this. I'm going to go ahead and tie these first. So I'll go ahead and cut, tie, and then I'll smash it flat with a tool. You can use anything, but I'm using this tire iron tool, and I'm going to be sticking it in from the bottom here and crushing it down. So you can see here how I'm able to now get the tool inside and pressing down like I was stepping in before, except I don't have to step in. This is just one trick. Obviously, there are many other ways to do this. You can do it by hand, you can hammer it down. This just so happens to be the way that I found that I can do it. And it's not going too great on this side. It looks pretty tight, so I'm going to bend it a little bit more to shape it. So I have some work to do here on this corner to bend it in and get this rounded. So I'll work on that, but it's basically the same thing. Round it on one side and then square up on top, and then you massage it in by either the crinkling method, crinkling it here, or hitting it with a piece of wood. And here we have the ball. And we're pretty much done. So it's rounded off. There might be a little bit of bumps here and there that can be fixed. And at the very end, I can push it in, make it just a little bit more round. But now it's time to wrap this in lights. So what I'm going to do is probably start from the top, make sure I need to tie anything down. I think I pretty much secured most of this stuff. I might have to just wrap this around. It seems to have come off a little bit, so I will take care of that. And then I'll do the light wrapping. And I'll do it in a rounded pattern, then quadrants, and then sometimes if I have enough wire, I'll go around and around to try to cover it. And you don't have to do too much because it's see-through. So if you somehow cover the gap on this side and there's a gap on this side, at night you can't tell there's gaps because the light will go through it. So they'll glimmer all over, and if you miss a spot, you really won't see it. At least with a 300 count. So we'll be doing something like this, 300 count, and it is about 59 feet in length. So it should cover the ball really well. Now you could use about 3 of these. If you found a unique color you wanted, like green is really hard to come by in a really long 300 length, or 300 light and 20-foot length. So you would have to use 3 of these in order to make 1 green ball. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. Try to look for the longer ones. Some of these 500 LED ones are usually 2 strings, so it's 250 lights, and it'll tell you how long it is for each one. So just be sure that you know that it can cover this size of ball. If you make it bigger, it's going to be harder to cover. So let's get started. I just remembered that I had one of these bush netted lights. So I'm going to try to do that here. I guess I would just find the center, kind of get it to the top, swing it around and tie them together. And that would be pretty uniform. I'm going to see what it looks like, but I'm probably going to use the soft white or the color for this one. But I'm going to check to see what a blue ball looks like and kind of go with that. I used to have these little pieces of metal, almost look like paper clips, straightened, and I would use that to tie the pieces together, especially when using the string lights. I just tie it at the top and keep twisting and keep rolling them through the piece of metal. Obviously, I don't have any more that I used at all on all the other lights, so I'm using just black twine. I'm going to be tying them in there. All right, it's not really tight on there. It is falling. I need to use more tie straps or string to kind of hold it. I tried to wrap it around tight this way, but on the bottoms, they need to be grouped and zip tied. That's why I like using the single string instead of the netting. Unless you have a really big ball, this one is 3x6, which makes probably a 2.5 ish foot across. I can measure that and see what it ends up coming out as in diameter, but that's pretty much it. This is what it looks like. I know it's kind of hard to see. Looks like the lighting is making it turn off. They're not flickering. It's actually the phone that is doing that. So that's what it looks like. Okay, to give you some perspective on the diameter of it, it's 2 feet in certain sections because I pulled on it and tugged on it, so it's about 2 feet. So a 3x6 sheet of this here will make a 2-foot ball. And I hate the fact that it looks like on camera it's flickering, but it's not in real person. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this garage project. Let me know down in the comments if you want to do this